Yeah. We got a sound issue apparently. I can hear it. We got a sound issue apparently. Yeah, we do. I can hear it. Yeah, I don't know what he's talking about.
Turn your thing up and make sure you can hear it.
Yeah, I can hear it. Yeah. All right, we're back here. We had a sound issue, but we have gotten ourselves back. So we got to watch some real football. We got to watch some preseason football. Cutdown's happening. It's fantasy football season. We are, what are we, about 9 days away.
It's trade season too.
Trade season.
The GM, like normally they don't do a whole lot of trading here, but I can understand why. Like now you got athletes that are just barely making the cusp at 53, and you don't want to see that guy get picked up by your divisional rival, right?
Yeah.
So there's a couple people getting out there getting some names.
There were some names this morning that started to arise, like John Minchie, who we thought was going to be absolute stud in the NFL, falling apart. Tim Patrick, who I'm just going to say it right now, like if he enjoyed any of his time with Russell Wilson, I'm assuming the Steelers are just going to pick him up because this Ayuk thing is just...
Is it falling apart?
It hasn't fallen apart. It's just you're at such a stalemate that it doesn't matter. CeeDee Lamb got a whole bunch of money today. And if CeeDee Lamb's getting that money, Jamar Chase is getting paid before Ayuk gets paid. So there's too many people in the pecking order. Do I see the Steelers going into the season without an extra receiver? No. But do I see them making the trade after week one? I don't. Like if he's not there for practice this week in installment, I don't see it happening. I think he goes back to the 49ers. This was all a big game of chicken.
But he's going to be a 49er. It's that simple.
I agree. I mean, he
wants to be a 49er. He just wants to get paid.
He should be.
And they need him to be a 49er because Debo's now playing 16 or 17 games.
Right.
And they don't have a left tackle right now.
Yeah. They have a lot more issues than just Brandon Ayuk, but at the end of the day, they need him there. That team is too close to let those pieces just fall away.
Yeah.
And to get back a third or fourth round pick for him, that's not going to benefit you right now.
Well, yeah, I mean, like good teams don't let good players leave, and we can all agree the 49ers are a good team. Odds are they're not going to let them leave, and just like we kind of assumed, actually, I think we were maybe on record saying that CeeDee Lamb was the odd man out.
That was me. I'll eat that one.
So I think the fact that he got $142 million for 4 years and 38 of that is in a signing bonus. I mean, that's big money. But it also impacts kind of what we're talking about today a little bit too. I mean, we're going to bounce around, but that to me impacts where he gets drafted in fantasy. If you know he's secure, you know he's playing, like that makes him the top receiver in my opinion.
In Dallas or in the league?
In the league for fantasy purposes. Okay. He's not the best receiver in the league.
No.
He's probably one of the best receivers.
He's the first receiver off the board though?
That's who I would take. I mean,
really?
Yeah, don't get me wrong on Jefferson. Like Jefferson is the guy and has been the guy for a long time, but if you sign me up for Dak Prescott over Sam Darnold, and Jefferson will be able to get himself open, but Addison hasn't been healthy, and a quarterback that's never done anything in the league in Sam Darnold, granted a third overall pick, is now responsible for feeding the best receiver in the league. I don't know, man. That seems like a recipe for disaster for me.
Still going Tyreek number one receiver.
It's
going Tyreek no matter what.
Okay.
He's going to win that gold medal.
You're not worried about the thumb injury?
Absolutely not. I'm not worried about anything when it comes to Tyreek Hill. Like, even when that guy was hurt at the last game that he played or whatever, or the Miami game against Tennessee, when he was hurt and he still came back in, he came back in and made one massive play, like right away as soon as he came back. So I think the offense falls too much on Tyreek Hill. He's got too much to prove. He's openly said that he's only got a couple years left. He's only playing out this contract.
Well, everybody says that until they throw $40 million in front of your face again.
Yeah, I know you weren't here when I was talking to Chad about Mika saying Mika Parsons saying he was going to do the Olympics next time, right?
So, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Can we talk about the Olympic flag quarterback who says he's better than Patrick Mahomes?
So,
that's an interesting beast right there.
I do want to touch base on it because there was I can't remember who it was now, but it was a former NFL player that one of the things that, because NFL players are pretty limited in their offseason activity, what they are and are not allowed to do. They are allowed to do things like play flag football, and a lot of them do happen to play that in the offseason to keep themselves up in shape. And he was saying in his comment that the way you have to manipulate the field and manipulate your body when it's a flag football game is much different than when it comes to like a tackle football game. And he said that there are aspects as why he could understand why somebody would say that in their sport, they are the respective Patrick Mahomes. Not as good. I think that's honest. When you got 5 men barreling down on you and you can still get the ball out 75 yards down the field.
I know we're not super zoomed in right now, but like you can see the face that I'm making at you.
Yeah.
The fact that you're defending this.
No. I'm
guy.
not defending. But I can understand why there are certain aspects of that game and the size of the field that you do have to manipulate defenses a little bit differently than you would. But that being said, we are talking the master manipulator as far as quarterbacks go is Patrick Mahomes, right?
Of course.
The king of the no-look pass.
The guy can throw a ball in any which way, his arm at any angle, farther and faster than most people on the whole planet. And I'm sorry, but like 110-pound Colin Kaepernick's not a better fucking quarterback than Patrick Mahomes. Like, I'm just going to call a spade a spade.
Yeah.
And that guy's looking for clickbait. He's trying to get his Instagram followers up.
Like Noah Lyles, right?
Hey, we're not going to judge him. I mean,
I already did.
hey,
You're the best quarterback in the league that no one cares about.
but we do lots of shit to get our clickbaits.
100%.
We're clickster baiters, some would say.
I don't know. I read that and I was like, you're just a loser.
Yeah.
Like, you're trying to make yourself relevant
Yeah.
over absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
At least Noah Lyles won something
Yeah.
when he called out Tyreek Hill. You're the fastest man on the planet.
Yeah.
Yeah, make that joke. You play flag football, bro.
Yeah.
And go back to the YMCA and go fucking play with your friends.
Yeah, and I mean,
You're the best at recess.
in all reality, like, that's not the Olympics to me. Like, the Olympics are the track and field stuff that you see once a year or once every 4 years. Flag football in the Olympics is just glorifying it for TV purposes, and I get it, whatever, you got to make your money, but like, and don't get me wrong, I'll watch it, but I'll watch it if the NFL players are playing. Just like,
If I can bet on it, I'll watch it.
Olympic hockey, I love Olympic hockey, as long as the NHL's there, because that's just like an all-star tournament.
Yeah.
If we're not making this thing into an all-star tournament, I have little to no interest in that. But we were here for a little bit of fantasy football, and our very first fantasy question.
Do you want a beer?
Yeah, sure.
Him as well.
Our first fantasy question was, how high are you targeting running backs in this? Like this year, I mean. And the answer is naturally, like, depending on your scoring. But how high are you targeting any running back that's not Christian McCaffrey? Because you have to assume Christian McCaffrey is the consensus number one pick everywhere. So if you were looking at just like basic rankings, running back 1 is McCaffrey, running back 2 is Breece Hall. They're separated by 6 picks.
Bryce Hall's running back too.
Bryce Hall is running back 2 currently, and that mostly comes down to the fact that he's not going to be splitting time with anybody, right? Like,
Who's your RB2? You got intrigued there.
I mean, RB3 would even shock you more, I believe.
Who's that?
Bijan Robinson.
I don't know. I'm telling you right now, that guy is going to redo the position.
Yeah.
He is the guy that he's the guy
Where
that
did he go to college again?
He went to Texas, baby.
Okay.
But come
Gotcha.
on, come on. There's
Gotcha.
one play last year where he made about 8 defenders miss on one play. But this is who running backs across the league have been hoping to come in, that redefines the position, that shows that he's an important piece to the offense.
If all these guys live up to their potential in Atlanta, like, you have a running back, and I don't disagree, that's the hype. Like, Bijan Robinson is a freak athlete, and he is like one of those guys that can redefine a position. You got Kyle Pitts, that is a tight end.
Yeah, that guy's been drafted very high a lot.
You can bring it in here. That's all good.
That's all right.
We're not that professional, I guarantee it. We are live, though, so if you're uncomfortable being on TV.
It's a little late. Thank you.
That's thanks to our man there. And then you got Drake London there. And inject the fact that you got Kirk Cousins now as a quarterback, and you got Michael Penix nipping at his heels. Like, Atlanta could be onto something.
Well, and they just
But I think that they're all bust except for, I think Drake London is going to emerge as the top 10 receiver this year. Probably in fantasy, not in like actual league, but in fantasy. The other guys, whatever.
We haven't even touched on their defense, which actually wasn't that bad last year and had some would consider to be a fall off year from the year before. Why?
I don't want to talk about it.
Were you praying for Matthew Judon or something?
No, the fact
just-
that
they're in his
now my
division,
division
just-
got difficult.
Oh yeah. Okay. Good.
We were going to win winning 9 games.
Yeah. And
We might not win 9 games now.
the offense is going to make some noise in Atlanta, and yeah, that defense. Matthew Judon's got something to prove clearly. I mean, he even came his first press conference said they know who I am, but they don't know who I am.
And they grabbed Justin Simmons, who still has a lot of Pro Bowl and like all pro football left in him. He held out for the right opportunity. You put Justin Simmons beside Jesse Bates. That's pretty scary.
With AJ Terrell on the other side.
like,
on the other side,
they got guys. Now they don't have depth.
No,
but,
no.
Their setup. The NFL is very tricky the way they do their schedule. So, you know who Atlanta kicks off with?
Who they kick off with?
Baltimore.
Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Who Arthur Smith was their coach, and
Atlanta,
yeah. So
My
Arthur
bad.
Smith now in Pittsburgh. Raheem Morris now the coach of Atlanta. Raheem Morris is also best friends with Mike Tomlin. Their families vacation together in the offseason. Like, the NFL knows what they're doing. They put this thing together.
Uh-huh.
They know exactly what they're doing. So that's going to be a tough test for both sides. But if we're looking at that, I guess right now, if you were looking at a top 5 to pick, and like, when was the last time you can remember only one running back was in the consensus top 5? I mean, naturally people are going to jump up and grab people because you panic, but like, only one running back is in the consensus top 5 right now.
I just think with the value of running backs, a shame. That's the first way to put it.
Yep.
Bryce Hall, I think it's more the fact that
Isn't it
almost
Brees?
like-
Is it Brees Hall?
It is, but we don't
Okay.
crack chat on names. He
first
pronounces
off,
well.
that's my exact reasoning why I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I'm not trying to insult him, but like, there's no value at running back anywhere.
Yeah, you're right.
And am I going to think that guy's a top 2 running back in the league? No. But now he's the number 2 running back in fantasy football. It just shows you how far the position's fallen off. Like, I remember when, like, I'm going to sound old, but like 5 years ago, 10 years ago, it was like running back 1 to 8. If you
Yeah.
didn't get one of those 8 guys, like, you weren't winning your
Larry
league.
That was the
Johnson.
first
I can
round,
remember
yeah.
taking that guy number 2.
Grandmama. Grandmama. Yeah, you got to grab him. But now everything's changed. Like, teams are rolling out into that 13, and they're running out all those receivers. So if every team is starting 3 receivers, receivers are heavy, and that's what I'm saying. Like, the consensus, you go McCaffrey, which we agreed with, Lamb, Hill, Jamar Chase, which I would have to avoid right now. His first practice was yesterday. Justin Jefferson, which I'm not taking him at 5. I'm willing to take him lower in the first round. I'm not going to be upset that I miss out on him. Brees Hall, Bijan, and then St. Brown. That's what's classified as tier 1, and then beyond that, you're at the lower end of the first round, which A.J. Brown, Garrett Wilson, Jonathan Taylor, Puka Nacua, who wasn't even a drafted player yet last year, is now in a 12-team league, the 12th pick. So if you have the 12th pick, your consensus is you go Puka Nacua and then Saquon Barkley.
Whose brother almost had a 105-yard.
I'm picking 12 in my league.
Okay, so
Okay.
did I just line you up? Are you going Puka Nacua then Saquon Barkley?
I can tell you right now, I don't know if I could take Puka Nacua in the first round.
No fucking chance.
There is a guy named Cooper Kupp still on that roster.
Yes. Who's healthy?
Who's healthy this year, who's going to get a lot of looks, who Matt Stafford loves.
Yeah.
So let's go through this, all right? We're saying McCaffrey's number 1. So you're telling me at 12, my options kind of look like Puka Nacua, Jonathan Taylor, Marvin Harrison Jr., Saquon Barkley, and Devontae Adams. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going receiver. I am not going to waste one of my picks.
I don't know why you're not that Jonathan. I will never pump the tires of a Colt. You know that. But that Jonathan Taylor pick, AR-15 is going to be hurt week 3. It's going to fall onto the hands of Sam Ehlinger, which I love because he's a former Texas Longhorn as well. But he's not a quarterback in the NFL.
Ellinger is not getting QB2.
Who's QB2 in Indy?
Joe Flacco.
Fuck off. That guy is strictly there as a quarterback coach.
Joe Flacco, if there's an injury, may not come in relief because they're going to be dressed in 3 quarterbacks, knowing the way that
AR-15.
the way that he plays. But after the run that Flacco went on with the Browns, I mean, you look up and down the Colts roster, they're not as talented roster-wise as that's how bad the Browns are. they have such a great supporting cast that it took their 5th-string quarterback to take him to the playoffs, because Deshaun Watson, who sat out the last preseason game with a stiff forearm, by the way. I don't know if insert joke here. Insert joke here.
The jokes make themselves at that point.
You now have Joe Flacco there. Adani Mitchell is a guy that I told you I thought that was going to be one of the top receivers picked. He wasn't. He's probably one of the top receivers as far as talent goes.
He's dead to me.
I view him in the same sense as George Pickens. People wrote him off because his interviews didn't go well, or they didn't.
Wasn't it because he was a little bit of a troublemaker in college? That's why Pickens got written off. It wasn't because he had a bad interview.
Well, Pickens got written off because he had a little bit of a bad interview, plus he was coming off of a bad knee injury. But clearly, neither one of those things.
Was he the worst guy at Georgia? Probably not.
No,
there's worse guys at Georgia character-wise.
I saw a stat the other day that Georgia was going to go 15-0, and that's defending their cases. Yeah. Has nothing to do with football on the field.
But I don't know, in my league, and Shane's played in my league before, the value on quarterbacks in my league is stupidly high. We do a 6-point passing touchdown, which I'm not a fan of.
We had 250-point weekends.
No, it doesn't go that bad, but
that bad? Don't throw 200.
No, it's usually around the 160 mark, 170 with PPR.
What I like about the league is they don't just change it because the league has changed. It was 6 when we were still drafting all those running backs.
It was 6 points, and I think this is my 15th year of this league. It was 6 points 15 years ago.
So if you had Peyton Manning and when he threw 50, or Tom Brady when he threw 50, that's great.
This guy did.
But now you have these guys, every quarterback is throwing
30 touchdowns.
40 touchdowns.
So it actually really devalues the quarterbacks unless you get 1 or 2 guys.
Yeah.
If you don't get Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, or Patrick Mahomes, you might as well wait till the 10th round and get a quarterback and stack everywhere else.
Yeah.
That being said, if Patrick Mahomes is there at 12 and 13, I'm taking him home.
Right.
Because I have to. They've done nothing but make that room better.
You're a Mahomie.
That will be this year.
Well, and majority of what we're going to talk about is going to be redraft leagues, because we're not going to get into the keeper thing, because keeper really depends on what's on your roster, who's coming in, whatever's going on. So we're talking about specifically redraft leagues, and this is going to fire Chad up here in a second.
I don't ever get fired up.
I find it incredibly insulting that Marvin Harrison Jr. is ranked higher than Mike Evans.
It's disgusting.
Then who?
Mike Evans, who is going to have guaranteed. You can write this down right now. He will have 90 catches, over 1,000 yards, over 10 touchdowns. Write that down right now. Doesn't matter. You can bank that. Marvin Harrison Jr. relies on staying healthy, knowing the playbook, and getting his midget quarterback to throw him the ball.
Keeping Kyler Murray healthy is what's going to keep
Correct.
him.
That also, and
that's not a shot at Marvin Harrison. It's the fact that
I'm going to take a shot at Marvin Harrison. That guy won't even let his jersey get sold on Fanatics. Not that I would buy it, but that guy to me is just a walking disaster. You love him, I know.
Generational talent, man.
I know. And same thing you think about the guy that paints his fingernails out there in Chicago.
That being said, if Caleb Williams is there in the 12th round, I'm taking him.
Would you say if what?
If he's there in the 12th round, I'd take him.
In the 12th round?
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Chad. Mr. Irrelevant in the fantasy draft.
I'm sure you're talking about the fantasy draft, not in the NFL draft.
If he's in the 12th round of fantasy football, I would take him as my backup quarterback.
I wouldn't even take him in the supplemental draft. This guy has a
deal. You give something up for it.
This guy has a deal with Maybelline. I have no interest in this man leading my team. No interest.
We'll see. I know we're talking fantasy, but you have to admit that those plays that he's made on the run. Somebody asked me the other day, why do I call him generational? And it's because every throw looks the same.
So, do you know who the last year's preseason MVP was?
Who? Zach Wilson?
No.
Who?
Kenny Pickett.
No, your preseason MVP.
Look it up. Go back. Check it out. Everybody said Pittsburgh found their guy. Pittsburgh got it going on. They had 7 drives with him in it. 6 of them resulted in touchdowns. And they were just electric drives where they were just going up and down the field. And then the season started. That guy isn't even the number 2 quarterback in Philly anymore. Yeah. And I'm telling you that as a guy that I was happy we drafted him. I actually still believe that he's pretty decent. The problem that he has no competitive spirit. And he has no competitive spirit. Do you think that if they need to sit Williams on the bench to learn something, who's he learning from? This guy is the first quarterback that I can, and I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off. This is the first rookie quarterback I can remember that has no veteran presence in the quarterback room because he can't handle it. They had to go get veterans at wide receiver.
I would counter that by saying that they don't need it. When they talked, when his interview, when the soundbite came out about, are you nervous? When the coach said, "Are you nervous?" And he said, "The last time I was nervous was the first game I played in high school football. I threw an interception and I came out there and I kicked ass after that, but I've never been nervous since then." I know those are just statements that some people make, but the conviction that he had in his eyes from that, and again, I'm not talking based on being a preseason MVP. I'm strictly talking about the way he throws the ball. Every single throw is the exact same. Doesn't matter if it's back foot, got two guys in his face, if he's on the run, he's crossbody, and always the same zip, and it's always on the same trajectory. It just looks perfect every time.
He's not going to suck.
Yeah.
But he's not what you think he is. And
all I'm gonna say is Notre Dame made a blueprint that shut him down for the rest of the season, we had 3 good guys on our defense that made him look mediocre, above average, we'll say.
right.
Above average in college doesn't compare to being elite in the NFL. There's elite quarterbacks in college that don't become elite in the NFL. You talk about one all the time with the most angriest boner I've ever seen.
Who's that?
Well, you already know. He's got long hair and he plays in Jacksonville. You are very angry about that, man, as if he's done something to you in the past life. He also, was doing, they said, at the level he's playing right now, will be the MVP this year. That's what came out and got said on ESPN. Mm-hmm. So you're telling me the same thing about Caleb Williams?
No. I'm not saying MVP. I'm just saying that the talent, the reason I'm saying there's things you have to work into a professional quarterback. And sometimes it's the throws and it's the angles they take on their throws. You don't have to worry about that with him. You may have to get his head into the playbook. You may have to get him accustomed to the NFL lifestyle and being around veterans maybe. But I just think that as far as a athletic...
He can throw a football. I'm not going to hate on him.
Yeah, and that's where there are... I can't remember who we were talking about in the last show, but we had said that when somebody has an arm as strong as the person in front of them, it's hard to learn behind them because they're showing you windows that you can't see because you can't get to that window with your arm strength, right? And that's something you don't have to worry about with him. Whatever hard throw you want, if it's a 15-yard out or if it's a 15-yard hook, it's the same.
All I'm saying is, of all the strengths that he has, mental toughness is not one of them.
I cry at everything, Shane, so I'm not going to hold the man accountable for going to his mom when he lost a big game.
I'm not even getting into that. I'm saying the fact that they do not have a veteran quarterback in the room, and if he goes down or if he didn't win the job, which he had to win the job, then they're going to Tyson.
Winning the job when they just got rid of everybody else.
Yeah, Tyson Bagarts.
Yeah, continue to ride this wave. If he gets hurt and he goes down, you get another high pick. You continue to stack talent around him.
Yeah.
So what? This honest question.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to be. I don't know the kid. Maybe he is mentally tougher than we all know.
He's not.
I'm just saying maybe he is. But what happens if he goes out there and lays an egg?
He's in the NFC North. He's going to do that a couple of times this year.
And now my only question is, we only see what the TV showed us. I'm going off what we saw on TV, okay? What's going to happen when that attitude and those mannerisms and those actions come in a room full of 30-year-old men? And that's a general, it's a very curious question.
So,
because it could go one of two ways. They pick him up,
yep,
or they're going to let him fall.
Yeah.
So this is where having that veteran leader in the quarterback room can pick him back up. When you're a 36-year-old quarterback and you have a rookie, you know what your job. You're not starting quarterback. It's that simple. Mm-hmm. In Washington, they brought in a veteran. Jeff Driscoll's a backup quarterback.
Yeah.
He's been his whole life. But now he's a veteran to be there for Jalen Daniels, to show him the mistakes he made. You go to other teams, like San Francisco had a veteran last year with Brock Purdy. Want to know why? Because Sam Darnold made every fucking mistake you could make as a young quarterback. There's no one there for that person. And that's all I'm trying to say. I think he has the best, as all the quarterbacks that came out last year, he had the best arm.
Yeah, you're telling me Chase Daniels is busy? Chase Daniels could be your third-string quarterback right now. Even let Tyson be number 2. Have Chase Daniels sitting there to be like, hey, this is what you do. That's the thing is, he's either uncoachable or he's not mentally tough. He doesn't want to listen to somebody tell him what to do. There's a reason that this guy was the first overall pick and went 8-4 at USC with all the talent possibly around him. Their running back was unreal. Their receiving room were all drafted. Their offensive line was okay. I mean, he had to run around a little bit. That team did not lose just because of the defense. The defense was bad, but he should have made them better, and he didn't make them better. He had his thing at Oklahoma. He replaced Spencer Rattler, who I think
is going to win the Saints job in time.
Yeah, I mean, to me, like...
And I've made fun of that guy for a long time.
I would start Spencer Rattler week 1 over Caleb Williams week 1.
It's crazy.
They don't play on the same team, so, I mean, you don't have to worry about it, but, like, that is... Like, did you watch him play? Did you watch Rattler play?
He just played the Titans.
Yeah, okay, so you did see it. So, like,
Yeah.
he dropped some nice throws in there. He's going to make mistakes, but that guy has gone through adversity and shown his maturity through all this. This guy hasn't shown anything.
I don't know. I'm kind of of the belief that the earning respect thing, and I've not been in a football locker room in a lot of years, and I've not been in a professional one, but we've seen, and I know exactly what you're going to say to me right away, is that he's earned the right to be like that, but we've seen quarterbacks throw temper tantrums on the sidelines in the past, and they've gotten a pass. And I think a lot of times they get a pass because as the quarterback, you've earned the right to throw a temper tantrum here and there, whether it's going your way or whether it's putting somebody in their place kind of thing. And I think that that's where he's going to get a pass. And I think that this is what, I can't remember, listen, all the names that they got aren't all the best names, but I can't think of a time when a rookie quarterback came in and they literally just laid the field around him from the top to the bottom. Tight end to the offensive line to wide receivers.
They got Keenan Allen.
Yep.
DJ Moore's still there.
Yep.
They also brought in Roman Dunze, who I thought was the second receiver in this draft behind Neighbors. And they got DeAndre Swift at running back. I mean, they got guys. Their defense is good.
Their defense is not even bad. Their defense was going to be a big missing piece if they lost Jalen Johnson, but he stuck his ass around because he realized this team is going somewhere on defense.
Well, they paid him. I mean, he didn't.
But
let's calm down.
He would have got money on the market, and probably would have more.
This team was going up last year with Justin Fields at the end of the season.
What's that?
At the end of last season, Justin Fields was winning football games, and he almost got them in the playoffs. I think they gave up on Justin Fields too early. That's my honest opinion.
I don't know, man.
I'm
You can't say no to someone's opinion.
Yeah, exactly. Whether you like it or not, I think they gave up on him too early. And then you went and you sold the farm for somebody else.
And at the end of the day, the best pick that they made was not making the pick last year. Because it doesn't matter how Caleb Williams does. He's not going to be Bryce Young. Like, Bryce Young is shit. If Bryce Young was on Chicago last year, what would that have looked like? How messy would that have gotten for Fields? How messy would have that gotten for Bryce Young? And you wouldn't have been in this position. So Carolina making the mistake has made Chicago's GM look like a genius, when in reality, they sold Justin Fields for a 6th-round pick. You're telling me they couldn't have done better than a 6th-round pick for him?
I don't know.
Well, look, he's not winning the MVP this year either. He's not even winning the starting job. So, like, we don't even need to worry about a guy like Justin Fields. But you say all these things about Caleb Williams. We know the team that's there. Do you think that Chicago makes the playoffs this year?
I think now that Minnesota's got all those injury problems, I think that they can make it. I do think they can make it.
Well, there's other teams in the NFC other than, like, that's in their division.
Yeah,
so, like,
but I'm saying they can peck a few wins off of them.
Are they third in their division right now?
Yeah, I don't even think they're third.
You think that they're better than Green Bay?
What in Green Bay scares me?
I mean, Jordan Love has taken a step.
I'm still not all bought. If I'm not bought into the Trevor Lawrence hype, and I'm not bought into the Tua hype, I sure as hell am not buying into Jordan Love
But you're
hype
bought
yet.
into Caleb Williams hype.
Nobody has.
I bought into his arm talent, strictly. Is what
You have said a lot more things than this is arm talent.
Nobody has a better young receiving core than Green Bay. Nobody. Period.
In the league?
In the league. A young receiving core. They have 4 guys on rookie contracts that would be 1s or 2s on any team in the league. Guaranteed. So you take all those guys and you have to rotate them through. But their run game is okay. They ended up with
Didn't they just
Marshawn
lose
Lloyd.
but they just lost their main running back, didn't they?
Aaron Jones went to Minnesota.
Yeah.
They brought in Josh Jacobs. They still have A.J. Dillon. Marshawn Lloyd, rookie running back from USC, who was taking the ball from Caleb Williams last year. He's not going to be a 1,000-yard rusher this year, but he might be in 2 years. Green Bay is pointing up. Naturally, we can all say that Detroit is winning that division, right?
Let's take a break though. Did you ever think in your lifetime you would say Detroit's the class of the NFC North?
It's been a long time.
Only when I was trying to make Josh feel good about himself.
Like,
Even last year, I didn't believe that. Yeah. Even they were in the NFC Championship game. I thought they were.
Also, side note, that's not about fantasy football. The Lions were a plus 1,200 on a FanDuel to win the Super Bowl.
Did you grab them?
I have not yet. I saw it when I was in Alberta yesterday.
Okay.
I wasn't allowed to put a pit down, but man,
That's
enticing.
That's not an unreasonable bet, I would say.
Because there's only like one team I believe in the NFC outside of Detroit. It's a 2-horse race. My team is not in it. I'm the first to admit it.
So who's the second horse?
Detroit and San Francisco.
What about Philly?
No.
Yeah, Philly can emerge, but Philly has to, 1 or 2 games isn't going to do it for me for Philly. They had a great start, and then they fell apart. So if they can be consistent, then, I'll put Philly back into the conversation.
But I would put those 2 teams above Philly. I think in the tiers of the NFC, it's those 2 there, and I think tier 2's down here. I think that's the drop-off.
Yeah, and I'm not even...
And it's the playoffs, anything can happen. But I think in the NFC, that's how it goes down.
I'm not even sure the Ayuk trade, if it were to go down, if he went anywhere, I don't even think that takes them off of the 2. It might take them from
1
San
to
Francisco.
2.
Yeah, exactly. San Francisco right now is 1, Detroit's 2. That's just, to be the man, you got to beat the man. But if you want to, unseed that, the Ayuk trade maybe takes them down a notch, maybe puts a little bit more tread onto the tires for McCaffrey. But, San Francisco finds guys. They're a scheme team. They'll figure that out if they are unwilling to pay the man. But yeah, who else is there in the NFC that scares you? Atlanta's a dark horse, but I wouldn't say that they scare you. But if they get hot, you might worry about them a little bit. Do you put the Cowboys in the mix just because they had a quiet offseason?
The Cowboys and the Eagles are going to cancel each other out.
Yeah.
Keep themselves out.
And that's...
those are tier 2, I would say.
Kalen, you have something on your mind. I can see it.
You're brewing so much for a non-NFC fan right now.
I've known you for a long time.
But I think it's those 2 are 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Cowboys and Eagles are 3 and 4. And then outside of that, then it's whatever's left. I'm a Bucs fan. I hope we win the division. I think Atlanta's done a lot, but I just don't think there's anything else there outside of those 4 teams. And I think there's a big separation between the 2 and 3.
And the Super Bowl champion's coming from the AFC regardless. It doesn't even matter. It's going to take a while.
Also, it's August. We could all of us be eating our words in November and December.
No, I've never been wrong before in my life.
Yeah.
That's the nice part.
Ask me every time.
Yeah.
I think that the NFC South is going to be a lot more loud than people are giving it credit for, too.
I appreciate that, but I think we're going to cancel each other out is going to be the issue. Saints,
the Saints' defense is just a whole lot of vet.
Liam's saying no sounds again.
No sound for you, Liam.
I gotta confirm that. just keep talking. Who cares?
But yeah, the Saints' defense is just a whole lot of vet. And I think down the stretch, that's when it really comes to matter.
Yeah, he's full of shit. I can hear it.
And in the playoffs, that's when it really starts to matter
liar,
too.
Liam.
So unless he's maybe thinking that YouTube maybe doesn't happen, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I think that the NFC South can be loud in so many different ways for all those teams, especially because I think the NFC as a whole is kind of weak.
I think the South plays spoiler. I wouldn't consider them a powerhouse, but I think they could still win. If you have to go into the South in the first round, the wild card, and you're the 3 seed or the 2 seed, yeah, you could lose a game.
Well, that's what I mean. Can you imagine that it's the Niners that have to come and play the Saints in New Orleans?
Well, why is it going to be the Saints? Why can't it be the Bucks? Fuck
Well,
you.
I'm just trying to think of loud. Your place isn't exactly loud in the
You think
playoffs.
Radler's taking over? There's no way Derek Carr's winning a playoff game. If Radler's playing quarterback, maybe.
That's why I say I don't think it falls on him. It falls on that defense there that is just like the team itself. As funny as their cap situation has been for 8 years now, they've been living off the laurels of that one draft for so long
Yeah.
now. That the one that Marshawn Lattimore was in, right? And it's been all on the defensive side, and that's the Steelers got through a lot of games through veteran presence on the defensive side of the ball. They knew that if Ben fucked up getting a little bit wild with the ball, that they'd go out there and get that friggin' thing back for him every single time, right?
Hall of Famer Ben Roethlisberger is who he's referring
Stop.
to. Well, I assume that's who you're referring to.
Yes.
Yeah. Hall of Famer.
Allegedly.
Yeah, Hall of Famer.
But yeah, that's where I think they make a lot of noise. That's where NFC is going to be a bit of a dance, I think, this year. I think we can all make.
The AFC is going to be a dogfight.
I can see a good team in the AFC not making it because it's that tough.
You're looking at 10, 11 teams that have legitimate playoff contention right now. Like, in the East, the only team today that you're ruling out is the Patriots. And that's not, like, their roster stinks. If Belichick was the coach, we would all be sitting here saying, like, he'll find a way. But we know they're not finding a way. It's either...
They're 3 years away.
Yeah,
They're
like-
starting from scratch, and they got to build this whole thing back up again.
It's why I thought that they should have went receiver instead of Drake May. I do think that Drake May is a good quarterback. I watched him play a little bit yesterday against Washington. He looked pretty good. Brissett got hurt in the preseason game, which
is
sucks.
not great. That means might have to start, which he's not ready to start a real game.
He is not ready to start, you're correct. But if you look at the rest of that division, like clearly Buffalo hasn't gone anywhere. Miami hasn't gone anywhere. And the Jets have to be better because Aaron Rodgers is likely to play more than 3 plays this year.
I think Buffalo just takes a big old step back. I think we saw the beginnings of it last year, but I still think that this year. But
They did lose their receivers.
before. Oh, okay. So that leads me to the next thing. Before we jump around here, who is the rookie you're most excited to see this year? Whether it's on your team or not, but who is the one you're most excited to see
I feel
develop?
like you're going to say Keenan Coleman.
I sure as hell am, man.
You segued so horrible with that.
Yeah, former Spartan.
Give me your hand.
Put
Give me your
that-
hand. Put your hand out.
Put
Try
that
harder
man
next
on
time.
a mic. I'll listen to him all day long. Put that guy in the field. I'll watch him all day long. It
And-
sucks that he's in Buffalo and I got to watch him grow there under an arm threat of a quarterback, but he's going to be so fun to watch develop.
Overall, like you look at that guy and he was the 8th or 9th receiver drafted in this draft. So like
Which
that's
is also
crazy.
why I didn't think CD was going to get paid.
Yeah.
Like that exact reason is why I didn't think CD would get paid.
Yeah.
That guy could be a number 1 receiver in a couple of years, and you got to pay him pennies.
yeah.
Yeah,
This
his-
might
his
be
height alone.
This is going to be the draft class for receivers that people remember, and people are like, "Oh my God, I can't believe these guys are there." Someone's going to be Jalen Reagor in this draft class. You don't want to be
The Dorial Green Beckhams.
Yeah, you know, like there's going to be 1 or 2 of these guys that went in the first round that are going to be a joke, but who will not be a joke is, and I've talked about him. It's Malik Neighbors.
This is your favorite, who you're excited to watch, yeah?
This guy went to the Giants. He's playing with a shitty quarterback.
Already made 3 beautiful catches in preseason training camp.
Because this guy is unreal. This is OBJ circa 2009, maybe
So,
less of a head case.
You think
Yeah,
he's
without
Rookie
the
of
attitude.
Year?
Yeah, he's got a bigger
You
body.
think he's Rookie of the Year?
No. That's
telling
going,
you,
I mean,
it's
rookie of the year is going to go to a
that's going to
quarterback.
his former teammate, and
it's
I think it's
going-
going to Jaden Daniels.
I think it's going to Caleb Williams.
Oh!
Well, one of the
Hear me
quarterbacks is
out.
going to get.
Hear
one,
me out.
One of the quarterbacks has to get it.
Yeah.
Hear me out. I've never once said he was a bad quarterback. I question what happened at UFC. There's so many pieces around him.
USC.
Whatever.
UFC is a fighting place.
He's doing the best he can.
Yeah. First off, fuck USC. They're a bunch of losers too. I'm a Notre Dame fan. I don't care about them. But no, he has talent around him. The hype is here.
Yeah.
As long as he doesn't lay a fucking egg. If he goes out there and throws 25 touchdowns, less than 10 picks, they win 8 games, how do you not give it to him? I don't know. I feel like it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair to say that Chicago will win at least 7 games. So like 7 and 10. Yeah. I think that he's going to have more interceptions than what we're thinking. I would lean more towards Daniels because I think he's going to make more electric
I'm
plays.
telling you right now, Jalen Daniels gets knocked out before we
That's what I was just going to say.
I saw that guy on the
I
sideline.
think he's going to get hurt.
He was wearing a long sleeve T-shirt and sweatpants, and that guy might weigh 107 pounds.
Yeah.
I think he's got the build of Bryce Young, but he's got the arm talent and the leg talent way beyond him.
He's got the body of an undersized receiver.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was bigger. I saw him on TV. I was like, oh no. Like all I'm thinking is, oh my god, we're watching RG3. He's gonna get murdered.
He's got better knees.
Who just got fired recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. Poor guy. Hey, if you're looking for a job, just hit us
Also,
up.
yeah, we'll take you. We don't pay much,
Yeah.
but we're good guys. You can say whatever you want. You said some wild things on
Yeah.
TV.
Well, yeah. So you look at that as far as rookies go. Yeah, like offensive rookie of the year has to go to a quarterback. You know, defensive rookie of the year, I don't even think it's like started to materialize. We're not going to see any of that until it actually like.
They didn't draft a defensive player like 20.
Well, and that like this was very heavy for the receivers, and like I said, this is going to be the one. But if we had to look at who is most likely to bust that was picked in the first round,
He's a non-quarterback.
non-quarterback. Like if we're looking at, because there was, I believe, 8 receivers drafted in the first round, maybe 9.
I got to look him up. There's a lot. I got to look
That's
him
okay.
up here.
I'll get you started. Like the kid that San Francisco took, they did not do him any favors by taking him in the first round. He is not a first-round pick. Since he's been drafted, he had 3 football-related injuries, all happening at training camp or at OTAs or at like mandatory mini walkthroughs for rookies. I think that as much as his guy from Florida, as much as he is talented, he had some like flashy
That's who it
catches.
is. Dallas. I was thinking of the defensive rookie of the year, Dallas Turner. That's who I think is going to get that one.
And
Yeah.
He was good, man.
Yeah. But sorry, I started to cut you off.
yeah, no, it's okay. But like when you look at San Francisco, I mean, Trey Lance is probably one of the biggest busts that no one ever talks about because Brock Purdy also
San Francisco has had horrible first-round draft picks.
and that's what I mean. Like
But they find the gems late, so it's like everybody forgets about it.
yeah.
well,
so,
they got lucky with Brock Purdy, yeah.
so this kid that they took, I would say most likely to wash out and be on another team within.
You talking about Ricky
years.
Purcell or whatever his name is?
Yeah.
Percival or whatever?
Yeah.
He's like he made a lot of great catches at Florida. He doesn't to me look like an NFL receiver.
He's got injury too, right? He got a
Well-
shoulder injury that said that is reoccurring now, and it's
3 of them.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be fixed, and now they basically have come out and said he's going to have it. That's just
Yeah,
it.
like I fully believe that regardless of who they wanted to trade Ayuk to, it was hinging on the fact that they thought this guy was going to be another guy that could step in there. And we initially thought like this guy was stepping in for Debo. He's not. He was slated to step in and maybe cover something for the Ayuks of the world, but yeah, I think he would bust out.
Oh, you asked me who's going to bust it. And I'm going to go back to what I said before. I think it's Jalen Daniels. I just don't think he plays the whole season. And I don't want to cause an injury to make someone be a bust, but we're talking about the kid in San Francisco not being able to get healthy. Quarterbacks play reckless. That's what they do when they're young. Anthony Richardson is a monster.
Yeah.
That guy is built like a superhero. And he took a couple hits in the NFL and it was over real quick.
So no one's ever hit him like that.
And that's what I mean.
Yeah, I think
and now
that's
we're
where he's
talking
at.
about like a guy who is literally half the size, who plays, I'm not going to say the same way, but is going to use his legs.
Yeah.
And a lot of kids
But
don't
he just
get
played a lot
down.
more ball. To put it, okay, if I don't know if I said it to you guys or not, but if Anthony Richardson plays every game this year, he will have doubled the amount of games he's played since high school. Or high school starting.
Which no one thought he was a first-round pick when he came out on this show.
Yeah.
For the
Colts-
simple fact that he threw a lot of interceptions.
But I love when the Colts make mistakes. It's the best.
Well, they've continued to do that. I would say as we worked our way through that division, how tied to
Billy Jeans. Is that what you're going to say?
yeah, how tied to is Tennessee, and knowing the fact that you have Mason Rudolph as your 2, like if this guy starts to struggle, like how tight is his leash? You have a second-round pick invested in him; it's a big deal.
It traded up to second-round pick, too, at the same time. It wasn't just their normal pick. So I think they're tied to him. And why wouldn't you be tied to him? Worst-case scenario, this guy falls flat in his face for a year or 2. That means...
He's got a big dick, too, so that helps.
Yeah, but the only guy that hammers more than him is Mason Rudolph.
Yeah. Or he gets hammered. Helmet to the face.
Well,
But so hear me out.
We were talking about the girls that he smashes out. We weren't talking about some guy recklessly playing football.
We're in a good situation that if they fall flat on their face this year, Quinn Ewers is right there. I know I'm saying that as a homer, but like, who's the next quarterback? Like, he really is probably the next quarterback that's the number 1 quarterback or the number 2 quarterback in the draft.
I mean, Sanders looks pretty good to be quarterback, but the top quarterback in the draft right now is Carson Beck from Georgia.
Yeah. But I just don't believe in the program, so that's where I think that.
And then you're going to be disappointed at this one because the next quarterback, in my opinion, would be Will Howard, who is a Kansas State product, but is now at Ohio State as a transfer just for 1 year.
So
Ohio State quarterbacks typically haven't worked out. CJ Stroud obviously worked out, but
He's pretty good at football.
yeah. And if that doesn't work out, who knows if Arch only does 1 year and comes out in the draft, maybe we get Arch in 2 years. Who knows? This is one of the times as a Titans fan, I don't really care if we do too well or not because there's lots of potential in the draft.
Okay, so you're saying that you guys struggle. You start 1-3.
Yep.
Levis has, call it 6 interceptions in that time, 3 touchdowns. You're saying they're not moving to Mason Rudolph?
I don't think they would. There's no reason to. At that point, your season's done anyway. Kid's got to learn
If
his
you
licks.
lost 3 games, your season's done. What? You're not playing the SEC. You're playing in the AFC South.
We have a very, very tough schedule this year.
Okay.
In fact, we open up against the Bears. But then after that, I mean, it does get. We play
Are
Miami.
you going to be conflicted?
What's that?
Are you going to be conflicted that day?
No. But
I'm so excited for that.
what I'm saying is that
If
it'll
he
be
lights
tough.
up Caleb Williams, we
yeah.
can rip him apart.
I can't wait.
But if Caleb Williams rips up the Titans, we can still make fun of him.
It's a great time to be alive.
You're going to hate us. You know that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
You'll
you're
be like Shane when the Steelers lose. You just won't be here that day.
Well, I think I'm going to make every episode this year. So you are not thinking that Tennessee's contender this year.
Sorry?
You're not thinking Tennessee has any chance of contention this year.
No. I don't. The 2024 Titans, unfortunately, if they lose 3 games in the start of the season, there's nothing they can do to come back from that.
Do you win 8?
I've stayed away from projecting my team's wins this year from every time I've been asked. So I don't think I can project that right now.
Can you be
6.
8-9?
Listen, the reason why I can't project it is I would say 70% of the team is new starters, on both sides of the ball. I have no idea what these guys look like on the field.
But like D-Hop will be back. I think he's going to miss 3.
I don't know, they're saying might be back week 1.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you got Ridley,
Yep.
and you got Boyd playing the slot.
Yep.
I don't really know what that does for Treylon Burks, but I think he's not getting cut, right? Like he's going to make the roster.
Yep.
Unless someone comes out with like a 3rd or a 4th round pick to trade for him. He's a Titan. I mean, Tony Pollard is there at running back. Naturally, you would think like quarterback is the weakest position, but that's not a shot at him. Like, just if you go through those guys, like that's the weakest spot. Defensively, I don't really know where they're at, but
Great secondary, horrendous linebacker unit, and a couple of big dogs in the middle.
so that's the thing. It's like your secondary can be as good as they want. If there's no pressure, it doesn't matter.
That's what I mean. We got no edge. Harold Landry's the only edge rusher, and you're hoping that Tavondre Sweat can be an outstanding rookie,
Yeah.
and that Jeffrey Simmons can be the old guy that we all know he is.
Yeah, well, Jeffrey Simmons is good. So,
Did you happen to see, speaking of big dogs, Aaron Donald raced LaShawn McCoy the other day? He was wearing jeans, Aaron Donald. LaShawn was wearing shorts, and he beat him by like a country mile, bro.
I believe that. That guy's
Can
a
we
unit.
also just talk about how unfair of a human Aaron Donald is compared to everybody else in the
Yeah,
world?
yeah.
Like, if there's a zombie apocalypse and I had no weapons, I would definitely hang up behind that guy.
Yeah, that guy is a unit. So, if you're going south, you go Houston, Jacksonville, Tennessee, Indy.
That's
Like,
what I do think. Yep.
Yeah, like that makes sense. And okay, so then if you go AFC North, like does Cincinnati not playing Jamar Chase all preseason? Well, Jamar Chase decided not to play all preseason. They lost some more guys on defense. They still have T. Higgins. They brought in Jerome Barton from Alabama, who has apparently not NFL ready. I don't even know what that means for a guy from Alabama, but he's not NFL ready. So you're going to really live and die by what you've done. Hope Joe Burrow stays healthy. Like, is Cincinnati the favorite in the North? Because it's varied where you look. There's always been the Cleveland Brown thing, and like the Cleveland Browns haven't won the division in over 35 years, and it's been since like 1954 since they finished with a better record than Pittsburgh. So I don't see the Cleveland Browns winning the division. Can you talk me out of that?
Even though he's very injury prone, Jack Conklin is starting the year finally on the right side and hopefully stays healthy.
Has he learned how to throw the ball? Because they're still missing that.
Yeah, but they can run the ball there. They've been able to. We're still able to run the ball even when Chubb went down last year with his injury.
Nick Chubb missing minimum 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Which I would say if he's not practicing this coming like for week 1's game,
He's win a week 5 or 6.
Yeah, he's like just keep pushing him. Yeah,
I mean, he makes more sense to pop him at that point.
Yeah, like he's popped, so he's already popped, so he's missing at least the first 4.
I thought it was 6.
No. So
I think the Ravens win the division, but I don't think the AFC North is a division that anybody should be scared of. Unfortunately.
Okay, that's it. So the reason I'm asking,
and I don't think that the Ravens are a scary team.
They have the AFC North as the in-season Hard Knocks. I don't know if you knew that. So they're following every team and doing all that stuff. So I think the Ravens got gutted a little bit for all the one piece they brought in Derrick Henry. They lost 3 guys off their offensive line.
Yeah.
Sorry, you just worded that for all the one piece.
Yeah. They lost guys on their defensive line. They lost Patrick Queen, who went to Pittsburgh, which is insane.
Their number 1 receiver is Zay Jones. Like, this is... Well, that's what I'm saying. I think they're going to win, but it's not going to be fun games to watch. They're going to drag out every single friggin' game and hope their defense can keep them in it too.
I mean, that's really been Baltimore for a long time.
But I just think that's the AFC North right now is how it's going to be. Outside of a bit of air show in Cincinnati here and there, I still think that that's a team again that is just going to have to drag out wins. They're not going to be able to be in gun shootouts.
If I were to tell you there was a team that's going to have a top 5 defense, a top 10 run game, and their quarterback will have single-digit interceptions, where would you place them in a division?
Second.
Because that is really like the trajectory that Pittsburgh is on. They have a top 5 defense. I would stand behind that. Top 10 run game is because Arthur Smith is there, and between Jalen Warren and Najee Harris and Cordell Patterson, who's there now, which I didn't even know.
Speaking of beat-up offensive lines, though.
So
and inexperienced offensive lines.
Inexperienced, I can get behind. Beat up, don't believe the national hype. Like, the people are talking about
Your starting center just got lost. I know he probably wasn't even going to be the starter.
The starting center was never going to be the starting center. They drafted Zach Frazier to be the starter. Similar to the theory.
What did Zach play in college?
He was center for West Virginia for 5 years. So he started like 47 games or something like that. So comes in with experience. Broderick Jones. They're probably going to have to start Dan Moore. And then they got Daniels and Suamalu. What they were doing in the preseason was being as vanilla as possible. You know the Arthur Smith offense.
Talk about vanilla.
Well, he
play action daggers.
Yeah.
Pickens better love go over the middle.
He loves it.
He better.
He will.
That's all AJ did.
And between him and Freiermuth, if it comes down to a quarterback winning a game for us, I think that Russ might have 1 or 2 of those left in him. But if you're telling me all those things, if we are a top 10...
You haven't liked Russell Wilson since his second last year in Seattle.
To be honest, I haven't liked Russell Wilson ever in my life because that guy went to Wisconsin and beat Michigan State in a Big Ten championship game. That said, if you look at a guy by numbers, I think that the media did him pretty dirty in Denver. You know, last year he had 29 touchdowns and 8 interceptions. Now, those aren't stellar numbers, but like, that's not the numbers of a guy that won 4 games. It wasn't him. Like, Sean Payton tried to make Russell Wilson Drew Brees, and he couldn't do it. But I'm telling you, if you have a top 5 defense in Pittsburgh, which they do, and they only improved it because their weakest spot last year was linebackers. They brought in Patrick Queen to go beside Landon Roberts, and they drafted Peyton Wilson, and they got Cole Holcomb when he comes off. So they're as deep as they could be at middle linebacker, as deep as any team is at outside linebacker, and very experienced and veteran in the middle. So easy to call them a top 5 defense. So if they are a top 10 run team, and their quarterback, like I said, doesn't throw.
He didn't miss much, by the way.
I see we're at the same spot as well.
Well, you asked questions, so I'm telling you exactly what I'm telling you.
I just realized, I walked back in and started laughing. I was like,
Yeah.
all right, glad I missed nothing.
So all of those things line up, and that gives you the 10 wins that you probably need, 11 wins to get into the AFC playoffs. And I'm not saying that they're a Super Bowl contender, but all of those things combined puts them into the playoffs.
I'm not bought in.
You don't have to be.
It was a hard sell, though. I will tell you that.
Hard sell?
You hard sold that shit.
I didn't. I told you all things that 2 things that are facts, 1 thing that's
2
ideal.
truths and the lies we played.
So
The lie was the 10 wins.
no, the two truths are: I guarantee you that they're a top 5 defense, and I guarantee you that they're a top 10 running game.
And the lie was the 10 wins.
10 wins, yeah.
Well, they won 10 games between Kenny Pickett and Mitch Trubisky and Mason Rudolph last year, and they
I'm
had
glad
10
that
wins the
you
year
threw
before
Mitch's name in there just for as a
that.
consolation
Well,
prize.
Mitch Trubisky led a game-winning drive against Tampa last
Yeah, yeah.
year. He did.
You did. I had to watch it. It was horrible.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, if all of those guys got Pittsburgh to 10 wins, I would say it's undebatable that Russell Wilson or Justin Fields is an upgrade to most of those guys. I wish they kept.
Justin Fields, I bet you win 10 games.
I,
I would not give 10 wins to Russell Wilson.
I think he's got it.
I'd reverse that. I don't understand what the buy-in is on Justin Fields. That guy can barely still throw left. He's like Mitch 2.0. He's got legs.
Well, he's a playmaker, but if you the offense is different depending on who's in there. But what it is whichever one they decide, which it's Russell Wilson. He played the first drive of the preseason or the first drive of the last preseason game. They scored. They pulled him out. That to me is QB1. Doesn't matter what happens. The media is going to talk about it. Who cares? But I think Baltimore has taken a regression. I think Cincinnati's a wild card, and I think the Browns are an overhyped team again. So
Oh, yeah, stiff arm.
yeah, he's a,
Stiff forearm.
yeah, right. So you got all that stuff. When you look at any other division, I'm not sure if the West is competitive. I think you have Kansas City and everybody else exists. To me, the Chargers might be better than we expected them to be.
No, they
But
won't.
Has Justin Herbert even taken a snap?
It's not his fault. They got 3 receivers,
Well,
and one of them is like a first-round pick who shouldn't have been a first-round pick.
who are you talking about? Lad McConkey?
No. The
Quentin Johnson?
Yeah, from TCU, right?
Holy shit, we got to wrap this thing up soon, eh?
Yeah, we have lots of time.
Well, I gotta take a leak too, so I might. If you guys want to keep talking, I might go do that. But overall, Kansas City clearly the class of that division. It seems
Class of
like
the NFL.
Juju's back in
yeah.
KC.
It's I don't think that's official, but it does seem like
Oh, it is official,
It
yeah,
is
yeah,
official.
yeah.
Okay. Hollywood Brown is out for at least 6 weeks, but
He was never in.
I'm gonna give you your flowers. I'm gonna take a leak, but I'm gonna give you your flowers. Why don't you tell everyone about Xavier Worthy, who I drafted 4th overall in my rookie draft yesterday? Because that guy is gonna probably have 10 touchdowns this year.
Yeah, I love Xavier. I've been tooting his horn, and I said it's not just what he brings as a wide receiver; it's what he brings as a return man too.
Did you notice he took his mic off before he gave you your flowers?
Well, he was prepared to get the hell out of here, right?
Yeah, he's like, no one can actually hear what I'm saying right now. But I'm going to keep it going. That receiver room only got better. Patrick Mahomes is Patrick Mahomes. The Snead move worries me. That's an honest, it actually worries me. But outside of that, I think the offense got better that will compensate for that loss. Pacheco's going to run for 1,000 yards. Going to get 10 touchdowns. You know Andy Reid will find the next running back up to be the next guy. And you're the best quarterback in all of football. And the offensive line, you didn't really lose anybody.
I'm the best tight end in football.
Hands down. And he's now he's playing a different role now too, which is cool. He's staying a bit more inside and blocking a bit more, and has improved his blocking. So yeah, the Chiefs are the Chiefs. They're going to do Chiefs things. I don't want to say they're going to three-peat because that's a stupid fucking thing to say. But they are definitely in position to get to that point. But the AFC it's a dogfight, man.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of good teams. All the best quarterbacks are in the NFC. Or AFC, sorry.
Well, he was talking about the trio wide receivers over in Green Bay, and I would say like the wide receiver grouping they've got down in Houston is just as dangerous, if not more, right? Like, because then you got to throw in the quarterback. I'm way more bought into C.J. Stroud than I am Jordan Love. I'm sorry. Between college tape and so far what they've shown in the NFL, C.J. Stroud is that guy for me.
100%.
Unfortunately.
And we talked about this before when Jordan Love got paid. That was a really high number. And we've talked about quarterback contracts a lot this year because a lot of guys got paid what they should not have got paid. That's the best way to put it. We don't got to go down the list all over again.
Including
Jordan Love.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like, I agree with you. I think C.J. Stroud is. I think he will be the highest paid quarterback when his contract comes up. And that Houston
Even
team,
higher paid than Trevor Lawrence?
I think he smashes Trevor Lawrence's number. I think the next guy up smashes Trevor Lawrence's number.
So
it's just the way the business works.
The only reason I think that that's not going to happen is because the owners are working on a salary cap for quarterbacks specifically.
I said this in the last show. I don't know if you saw it or not, or Shane, but at what point do teams start playing Moneyball with quarterback contracts and say, you can get me 25 touchdowns in a year, and that's totally fine.
Brock Purdy?
Well, that's an example.
Brock Purdy, Baker Mayfield.
But he's going to get paid. Like, he's going to get money because he's the quarterback, right?
Like, he's going to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL next year.
Yeah, so exactly. So what point does a team, an NFL team, turn around, and this comes back to what I was talking about with the Trevor Lawrence thing a long time ago, right? But just says, you know what, I'm going to fill out 42 positions with the money I'm going to put into that quarterback, and I'm going to make my team successful in other areas.
You're not wrong, but it's just the way the game is right now. And until they figure out something to fix it, it's always going to be that.
I watched Kerry Collins take a Tennessee Titans team to an AFC championship myself. Sorry, it was divisional. Sorry, because they broke Chris Johnson's foot in the game. But if that guy can be successful on that team, that's where I come back to the conclusion that you can just be successful building the rest of the team and getting a guy get you 20 touchdowns.
What you need, and it's easier said than done because someone would have done it if it's easy. If you could get a quarterback to start for you for 3 years, every 3 years in the draft, you're recycling quarterbacks, and that third-year quarterback you're trading before you have to pay them, then you can continue to manipulate the salary cap to do whatever you want. You could have these $50 million receivers, this, I guess, $12 million running back, these $25 million pass rushers, because you'll never have a quarterback off of a rookie deal. But the risk you run is not everybody's Brock Purdy. I mean, you look at a guy like Sam Darnold that went 3rd overall, Zach Wilson that went 2nd overall. These guys suck, and they can't do what's supposed to be done. So you're looking for guys like, it's a fucked up name to say because he just got replaced, but like Aiden O'Connell is really who you're looking for in the draft that could probably get you 24, 25 touchdowns, but not lose you the game.
I'm not even saying rookies. I'm saying just go after those old-timers, not Baker because that's a different, he actually had a really, really good year, but like an old-timer that comes off the bench that I only need 15 to 20 touchdowns.
But hear me out.
My defense is going to get
roster.
me 52 sacks. I'm going to get 15 interceptions, and that's how I'm going to win a game.
Think about it. Baker Mayfield took a contract for $75 million for 3 years. I don't care if you're the 28th ranked quarterback in the NFL. That is a discount. But he knew if he went after money that he could have got, being a Pro Bowler, a very loose term, but they will pay because of that, he would have lost everybody else. Like, at what point is too much money too much money?
That's just it. I think the Trevor Lawrence contract was too much. That's when it started, Chad. That's when it started.
Way before Trevor Lawrence. I just want to put that out there.
Yeah.
But yeah, Jordan Love is the exact same situation. The guy played 1 year football.
And Tua.
Tua's getting paid.
You got a guy who's got to take jiu-jitsu lessons in the offseason to learn how to take a fall. That's fucked up. Like, and you're going to pay him that much money now.
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, we have tons of preview that we just gave. I'm pretty sure inadvertently we picked every single divisional winner throughout the course of this. We helped you out with your fantasy draft a little bit. And now we're just kind of gearing ourselves up for September 5th. That party will be right here in the clubhouse. We'll be live for, I mean, hopefully at a more appropriate time than we got on here today, but we will be live. We will lead you all the way up to kickoff of Baltimore and Kansas City. We will talk about any and everything football, but we're going to send that out so people will come down and hang out with us. I think it's time that we wrap and maybe just have another beer and then head home for bed.
I gotta eat dinner still, so.
Yeah, this guy's got to eat dinner.
Let's do that then.
So, appreciate everybody hanging out. Make sure you check out Clubhouse. Come on down to 100 Kellogg's because there's tons to do. Hit up all of our other sponsors, Jesse, Daryl. Head on over to Throw. And we will see everybody not next week, but next Thursday. Take care.